Hi, everybody. This is Grace with Grace on a Journey Channelings. Welcome to the newcomer. And to those of you returning, thank you for coming back. I appreciate your presence. You're valued and appreciated. So today, I'll be entitling this episode, Trust in God. And I feel to call it that because of certain things that I've experienced in life. And for some reason, those that have made my acquaintance feel as if I appear to be more courageous than they thought I was. But I want to tell you what's behind that. What makes someone courageous, or what should make someone courageous? And the answer is God. Why do you need to fear people? Why? If you have God on your, give me a reason. I'm willing to sit here and wait. Give me a reason why you need to fear. It may be a long wait, huh? Because when you have God, it doesn't matter the plans of the enemy. It doesn't matter what weapons of destruction they use, what forms of trickery they use. None of it matters. As a matter of fact, you know what they're going to do before they do it. And sometimes years in advance. I kid you not. I've been in situations where I've had visions. And I'm speaking of years ago. And I'm witnessing what I envisioned years ago. And at the time, it was very, like I didn't even understand why or what it was about, because that was just so far from reality. One of the reasons why that may be is because sometimes when you put trust in people, you think, okay, this is a boundary so-and-so won't cross. We safe over here. Or this is the temperament someone has, or this is the way someone sees these type of people, so they wouldn't join in with that. All of these ways that we rationalize things. You know, we think that we can use our logic to guide us throughout life when can I be a witness? That is the farthest thing from the truth. Because a lot of times you've read all the self-help books. You got an education. You even had wise counsel from parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. But there's something called blind spots. I'm going to repeat that. There's something called blind spots that only God sees. See, you don't have access to these blind spots unless you have the connections that you need to have. It also takes your vibration, okay? Because a lot of people feel, well, I have a connection. I pray before every meal. I pray every morning. I pray before I go to bed. My grandmother prays for me. I go to church on Sunday. I mean, they'll give you a list. I said a list. Meanwhile, corruption in their lives cannot even compete next to the stereotypical sinner. What would that be? What would that stereotypical sinner mean? Who does society enjoy throwing stones at and hiding hands? Can we be real for a moment? Because you know that's the only way I'm going to be. Okay. One of the things that people look down to are people, for example, who are involved in some type of addiction. Okay? Whatever it is, because there's more than one type of addiction. And sometimes it brings them to a place where they lose all control over anything that is functioning. Find themselves homeless. And sometimes we look down on those people because we feel like, well, they must have done something to get themselves there, or, there's probably a reason, and, we compare ourselves to them. Now, another group that people like to look down on are single mothers. Yeah, I went there. I went there because it's the truth. I went there because even the church, I went there too. And when I say the church, I'm not speaking of every church. I went there too. But a lot of churches look down on certain types of people because of predicaments, because of circumstance. And then they look at another person who seems to dress a certain way, wear a certain hat, seems to be legalistic in their ways. Mind you, you don't know what they're doing. Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Shall we go on? I said, shall we go on? Because it's not only the youth. We also have senior citizens that are supposed to be examples, that are supposed to be leaders, that should have wisdom. Grandma, grandpa, they call them. That are disgusting before the eyes of God. Disgusting in their ways due to the gossip they carry, due to the lies they say, due to the plotting they do, due to the false gods that they bow down to, due to the ritualistic activities they participate in, due to the theft that they bring normalcy to. The dark secrets that they carry, the people they've killed, some by way of magic, but they're saints, quote unquote saints. You know why? They can shout hallelujah. They can bring a check of $1,000, even though they just may have had to lay on their back for it. Yeah, I went there. There are prostitutes in church too. If I'm lying, say I am. They like to sit in the first seat and wear no undergarments. They like to start smear campaigns. They like to break up anything that seems to bring the upliftment of others. They like to break people down. Meanwhile, I love the church. I love the youth. I love the community. That part. I love the ancestors. That part. That part. Right? Meanwhile, those are the same people that are doing death spells. Yeah, I went there too. On church members. Yeah, we need to go there too. These are the same people that are causing chaos in people's lives by means of chaos magic. Now, how would I become so well-versed in such torture, torment, darkness? I was once connected to someone I believed was, get ready for this, saved. Can we say saved again? No, let me spell it. S-A-V-E-D. Would you doubt a pastor's son? Just the question. Meanwhile, this is somebody that was heavily rooted in everything dark, to the point a conversation is enough to sway you to be under their spell. See, these are the things that I didn't learn in Sunday school. Okay. I didn't learn them in Bible study. And I didn't learn them in group. But later on in life, when I became more alert and aware due to the trials that were given to me that I had to overcome, I heard from other people's testimonies, and I heard from other people's shares. Not people I met in church. I'll just be frank. Not them. I'm speaking of people that share their stories over social medias, people that share their stories at support groups, people that share their stories on platforms such as podcasts or YouTube with an intent to help others in that struggle, at that time, in that season, to avoid the stones that the truth may attract. You see, we're ready to believe people with titles. We're ready to believe people who call themselves prophet, people who call themselves choir director, people who call themselves pastor. Yeah, we're ready to believe in them. But what about those who fell victim to them? I said, what about those who fell victim to them? Who are those people at home? Who are those people in the shadows? Do you know what they have in their closets? Do you know what they bury in their backyards? The prayers they say at their trees. The dead cats, the dead chickens, the dead snakes. The blood they drank. Disgust. Disgust. But they know the church dance. They know all the songs in the hymnal. And they're ready to jump up and approve of anybody who is in line for the cross. Yeah, let's crucify that one too. Yeah, that should be fun. Yeah, I'm ready for that. You heard she said that? Yeah, he did that too. Oh my goodness. I already saw it. I knew that. First time I saw her, I already knew. Yeah. Familiar in conversation. Say I'm lying. I said, say I'm lying. You see, this is why God called me to do what I do. Because he told me, I'm calling you to do what you do because of the fact you've been there. You've seen the other side. You've heard the whispers, the conversations, the outcasting, the cliques. The competition. Oh, I wear a hat. I'm holier than you. Because you don't wear a hat when you come on Sunday morning, so you're not holy as me. Oh, she has a necklace on, so she not really a holy roller. Oh, she has makeup on. I saw her at the restaurant, and I saw her talking to a heathen. I saw her at the stop sign, and I heard her listening to secular music. Sound familiar? I said sound familiar. You see, God works in mysterious ways. He does what he does, how he does it. And you know, he is the only one in control. And therefore, if he sends someone in this direction or this direction, can I be quite frank? You need to shut up. I said, you need to shut up. I just relay the messages. Because as you are witnessing, especially in these days, the main ones who like to stir the pot, the main ones who are the instigators, the main ones who call themselves this title and that title, are the ones that are getting unmasked. Say I'm lying. They're the same ones falling on their faces. They're the same ones looking like liars. The same ones walking with handcuffs. Confirmation. Think I don't know. The same one giving death sentences. Oh, what would that mean? The same one getting gifts that keep on giving. The same ones calling people Satanists, devil worshiper. Meanwhile, the person is giving you a prophetic word. I went there. Meanwhile, the person was just giving you a prophetic word. Listen to me. Meanwhile, the person just was giving you a prophetic word. A word that could save your life. But because the person was not conforming to you or the way you saw things or the way you saw fit, and you found yourself as an authority, not God. You found yourself as an authority, not God. You found yourself as an authority, not God. You had to fall down. Do I need to say that a little louder? I said you had to fall down. Domino effect. One by one, by one, by one. Kingdom down. Those cults that you call prayer meetings and Bible studies, God knows what they are. Those women groups that you call Bible studies, God knows what they are. He sees the harems. He sees the sex magic. He sees what you do with people pictures. He sees you and hears you when you call people's homes just to do black magic on them when they say hello with your candlesticks. Say I'm lying. Say I'm lying. The desperation goes so far. When they can't reach you, they actually go as far as calling you for some type of connection, some type of interaction, some type of touching base. 3-way, 4-way. All covenant members in attendance. You speak. All candles being lit. All chants being done. All phones on mute. Y'all better wake up. I said y'all better wake up. Y'all better learn to stop picking up those phone calls with those numbers that you don't know. Word of mouth. Y'all better learn to stop accepting gifts from people. Word of mouth. Acceptance may come with a cost. Y'all better learn that gifts are not always a positive. Sometimes instead of increase, they bring decrease. It was through revelation I learned that I was cursed with a gift. How is that possible? How do you curse someone with a gift? Well, there are many ways. I'm learning. It could be through a piece of jewelry. It could be through an article of clothing. It could be a journal to write in. They say a word over it. They do their rituals over it. That's why you need to stop being greedy. You need to say no. You need to work for yourself. You need to take care of you. Because the more you're in need, the more you're exposed. See, that's what saved my life. I've always been independent. I always know that someone can wake up and mess up. And so there is always preparation. There is always reserve. There is always integrity. There is always connection. There is always transparency. Because when you walk with God, when He saw your intention, when He saw your faithfulness, when He saw your truth, when He saw sometimes you got to take a break by taking a breath. But when He saw the length that others would go through to bring you down at no fault of your own. Not due to retaliation, not due to offense, just the need to conquer, to abuse, to curse, to destroy. Yeah, there are peoples like that in church. There are also people like that in the world. But as we clean house, we can't forget in church. I said we can't forget in church. Because that's where these prophecies are being said. That's where these lies are being told. That's where the plots are being made. Oh, brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, just marry that woman. She'll give you papers. Get your papers and move on. Say I'm lying. I said, say I'm lying. Oh, she has a way of saving. This will be good for you. She'll be able to help you to take care of them baby mamas. Confirmation. They may be prostitutes, but they baby mamas. You got to stay loyal to that. You know what we do. You got to be loyal to yours. Oh, you didn't take a DNA test? That's okay, but you got to be loyal to the streets. Amen. That part. I know what I say is not going to be pleasing to many ears. It's not going to make me win the fan club either. But that was never the goal. I'm here to be a messenger, and the messages I will tell. Before you start throwing stones, before you start making fun of, before you start making assumptions as you make a fool of yourself and an assumption of someone else. Improvise. Please understand that you should not judge a book by its cover. Please understand that a single parent household, that's someone that grew up in a dysfunctional household, that's someone who may have, whatever the case, I don't know what the situation is. Do not judge a book by its cover. Because in this season, you will learn. I said you will learn that life is a school. You will also learn that those of you that refuse to study, refuse to apply yourselves, get left back. And see graduating classes move forward. You will see that. You won't only see it, you will hear that. You won't only hear it, you will feel it in your soul, as dark as it may be. Because sometimes it's so dark you can't see. Sometimes it's so much abyss in that darkness, you can't even hear. With all the gossip, all the slanders, all the lies, you can't even hear. But you could feel it. Yeah. You could feel the detachment when God says, enough. When God says, judgment day. When God uses his people to set the record straight. They say messengers, sometimes prophets, are never taken serious. Or looked in high regard in their hometowns. Because people see them a certain way. They don't understand the transformation of God. They don't understand certain traumas can make you sit down, rethink your life, make a change. Even if that change evolves around, I will no longer people please. I will no longer try to fit in. I will no longer conform. I will no longer do what they expect me to do, and is replaced with, I trust God. And replaced with, I embrace the gifts that you've bestowed upon me, regardless of the opinions of others, regardless of the throwing of stones and the hiding of hands, regardless of the labels and the oppositions, the death spells, the black magic. Now, who would have thought church folk call hitmen? My God. Who would have thought that, huh? Who would have thought that? Church folk call hitmen. Hitmen that are PKs. Who would have thought? But see, I've been awakened. I've been awakened to the programming. I've been awakened to the truth. I've been awakened to the efforts to keep me down. The efforts to keep you in darkness. The efforts to make you run away from knowledge. The efforts to tell you who you are. And not let you define yourself for yourself. Those efforts. Those low vibrational, demonic, satanic efforts. As I stand here today, trust and believe I have never been any closer to God in my entire life. Today I call him best friend, guide, provider, leader, confidant, lawyer, doctor, judge, detective, banker. Whatever need he supplies. He supplies even if others don't approve. He uplifts even if others are in illusion of rank. He gives sight to the blind that want to see. He gives sound to the deaf that want to hear. He gives understanding to the ignorant that want deliverance. I've never been one to want to ride on any wave but my own. I've never been a follower, and I never will be. That's not my makeup. But if I ever was on a wave, it would be the wave that God puts me on. Not a wave to follow so-and-so, to belong with so-and-so, to look like so-and-so, to imitate so-and-so. No. That's not the direction of my soul's purpose. It's not the direction of what God has planned for me. It's not the direction of elevation. You see, when you try to be someone else, you'll never be the best. Because you're trying to be what you're not. The best already exists. The goal is, who are you in God? Have you ever asked yourself that? Who am I in God? Not can I dance like so-and-so? Can I say hallelujah like so-and-so? Can I sing a song better than so-and-so? Can I do a dance performance better than so-and-so? Who are you in God? Because until you know who you are in God, you will not know what gifts you possess. It requires detachment from people, places, and things that serve no value. Yeah, I went there. That serve no value. Some people serve no value. Some places serve no value. Some things serve no value. And so once you distinguish that, you purify yourself. You go before God and you say, cleanse me. You see me in my iniquity. You see me more than I see myself because I have blind spots. You know me more than I know myself because there are things you've saved me from that I didn't even know I was in danger in. I just want to testify there were things God saved me from that I was not aware that I was in danger in. Praise God. I said, praise God. Because when he told me to detach, I didn't ask no question. You understand? I didn't wait till someone can convince me to not listen. As a matter of fact, I didn't wait. You understand? If God tells you something, you got to not be in your right mind. I just got to be frank with you. You not in your right mind if you have some type of warning and you disregard it. Something wrong with you. Like my culture says, you better look into that. I said you better look into that. See, God's word is word. You understand? So if he tells you, you need to walk away, yeah, you need to walk away. Okay? Even if you was the one that thought you knew it all. You better walk away. And so when I walked away, he saved my life. I had no idea my life was in danger. I had no idea that the person I thought I was in a commitment with entered the marriage in a fraudulent manner. That he was on payroll. That's deep, ain't it? Payroll of people that wanted to take me out. But God saw my heart. He saw my intention. Saw my efforts. My contributions. My blessings. He saw my potential. The healing I extended. The guidance I gave. The nurturing I extend. He saw all of that. You ever heard God don't like ugly? I said, have you ever heard of God don't like me? Who hasn't heard of God don't like ugly? I want to tell you it's true. I want to tell you every single one that came against me. I say every single one. I said every single one because it was organized crime. You better be careful in these streets, those of you that are young at age and inexperienced with a touch of naivete. You better be careful in these streets. You better be careful who smiles at you. You better be careful who says, I own this business. I can support myself. Isn't it sad? Nowadays, it's not even I can support my family. The requirement has downgraded to I can support myself. Meanwhile, they can't. Yo, they can't support themselves. That's why they need to attach to you to pay that baby mama confirmation. Baby mama A, baby mama B, C, can we say Z? Let me tell you, let me include some comedy. I remember once, and this is the only reason I won't ever forget this guy, even though I forgot his name. I won't ever forget him because of the fact that he was honest. And that is so rare. That is so rare. He might be the only one. But I remember getting to know this guy, right? And when it came to the point of, do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Do you live with, do you have children? Do you, because obviously we already went over singlehood and so forth. But I know, regardless of being single, some people are attached, right? And we all have a right to have a preference. I have the right to say I do not want to be with confirmation. We all have the right to have a preference. Someone needed to hear that. We all have the right to have a preference. You have the right to say, no, I don't want to be with somebody who has kids. No, I don't want to be with someone who has more than one kid, or more than 5 kids, or more than 10 kids, or someone who is not gainfully employed. Someone who does not believe in a monogamous relationship. Someone who does not believe in God, because some people are in denial. Some people are in denial. Some people are in denial. Wake up call. You don't know God. I said you don't know God when you don't have, when you don't have a connection to the point that you can trust him. Because if you don't trust God, you don't know him. Those that know him, raise your hand, because those of you that know him, trust him. But getting back to the humor, I respect that man. Can I tell you I respect that man? I respect that man. I respect him because when I asked him about his housing situation, he said, you know what? I'm an honest person. I'm not going to lie to you. I have 6 kids. And because of child support, I can't afford to be on my own. I had to move in with my brother. I live with my brother. Now, we all have our preferences, right? That does not mean someone else will not be okay with a Brady Bunch scenario or a Cosby show or whatever. And when I say Brady Bunch, I mean bringing your children with their children and mixing it in. And when I made reference to Cosby, I'm speaking of a household with a lot of children. I myself love children, but I know the whole picture. See, it's not only children, because children have parents. Can we be real? Can we be real? Some children have parents with attachment issues, codependency issues, narcissistic issues, black magic issues. That part. And so not everyone who applies wisdom in their life is going to jump towards that direction because they know the dangers, the complications, the stresses, the gamble that they will be subjecting themselves to. So those of us that don't take ourselves as a joke, we don't live life like it's a joke. We consider the entire picture. Is this person's parent sane? Bad company? Of dark energy? Yeah, you need to consider. You need to consider the details. You actually need to consider even the person that you are marrying, even though you think you are marrying or committing yourself to that person. You need to consider the household they come from, the family they come from. Because if those people like to engage in dark arts as well, they expose you to that. And the reason why more and more of these conversations need to be made is because a lot of us are way sheltered. Cannot be real. And majority of the sheltering happens in settings that are very religious. Why? We just focus on this book. This book. This is the only book. This book. Meanwhile, the entire world is evolving. Okay. Socialization is changing. Expectations are changing. Financial obligations are changing. And this is why I like to employ the phrase, balance is the fruit of the universe. There is time for a religion of your choosing. There is time to work for yourself. I had to go there because some senior citizens haven't gotten that yet. Yeah, work for yourself. There is time for you to do some self-introspection and realize what areas carry retardation. Okay? Because if we don't do that and we don't try to bring some type of level up in our life, we remain in the spirit of low self-esteem, which keeps us in desperation and allows exploitation. Regardless of your sex, female or male, it's time to stand up. It's time to take care of yourself. It's time to stop laying on your back to pay your rent. Yes, I went there. Somebody had to say it. I said somebody had to say it. It's time for you to stop doing tricks in order for you to buy a bag. Yo, It's a shame. It's a shame, yo. Just so you can go on Instagram and say, look at me. Oh, Lord, help us. Lord, help us. Lord, deliver us. Meanwhile, we in church committee, right? And so when we see someone walking in their truth, what we do is we paint them as a self-portrait, right? And spread lies and defamations of character. And this person is living this lifestyle. And she's on this street corner. And she's doing this. Meanwhile, you're looking in the mirror. You sharing your autobiography out loud. Yeah, God was listening. You see that? See, a lot of times people do things in secret and they feel like I could do it because she'll never know. We don't entertain the same circles. I'm better. I'm of this nationality, of this social class, of this complexion. Say I'm lying. I said say I'm lying. Meanwhile, the illusion of your complexion, the illusion of your class, the illusion of your truth is nothing but what? An illusion. Oh, Lord have mercy. Child. Nothing but an illusion. And what you don't want to do is try to impersonate somebody who walks with God, somebody who trusts in God, somebody that only has God. You don't want to do that. I said you don't want to do that. And I know you know that. Say I'm lying. I know you know that today. You see, nobody meets somebody by accident. Everyone is here to learn. As I've shared, life is a school. And so, regardless of your stay, whether it be temporary or for good, you will be learning today. As I learn every day. You attract your approach of teaching and learning by your willingness to observe, to retain, and to implement. If you are taught something and you act like you didn't get it, and you're taught it again, you act like you didn't get it either. Another time. Another time. You know what happens? You just increase the force that it comes with. If that situation that you've experienced wasn't grave enough for you to get it, you're going to get something else. We're going to keep going up these stairs until you get it. Okay? Because when you reach on the top of the stairs, if you haven't gotten it yet, right at the door to graduate, you know what? We're going to push you down. And you're going to start from number one. That's how it goes. Right? And that's why gossip is dangerous. That's why lies are dangerous. That's why calling people out of their names are dangerous. Can you say dangerous? People are learning. Trust and believe. They learning. I said they learning. They may learn it while crying on their pillows at night. Or sitting in their cars crying. Or at a doctor's appointment crying. Or at a funeral crying. But they learning. They're even learning the energy of black magic is not something to play with. They're learning even if you belong in a religious organization or, fellowship or not. It's not something to play with. Because who it's not supposed to touch, it can't touch. You feel me? And anyone who sat long enough on a desk at school would be versed enough in science to know once you create that energy, hey, it ain't going nowhere. And so when you create this energy and you target an individual in order to manipulate, in order to bring down, to humiliate, to teach them a lesson, to make them pay for rejecting you. Oh my goodness. How dare the person walk away from me because she's tired of my abuse? How dare the person walk away from me when I'm worthless? How dare the person walk away from me when I'm trying to kill her by means of black magic? Confirmation. See, we can't lie no more. I said we can't lie no more. Not today. Y'all better wake up. This is a season of awakening. So those games that were being played need to be put to rest. Because this season, y'all gonna have several seats. Those of us playing church, that is. Y'all know who y'all are. I said those of y'all playing church, that is. Now I'm being inspired to get off track right now. And so I'm just going to follow the leader since I'm just the messenger and tell you what I was just told. I was told to tell you, be careful of them banquets. Hey, be careful of those banquets. You don't know who's preparing your food. You don't know the work that's being done on your food. In your drinks. And have all of y'all walking like zombies. Not knowing what you're doing, not knowing what you're saying, not making sense. I know because I witnessed it in my circle. I witnessed the manipulation that was being done and the foolery that arise. And I thank God for saying, you can't stay over there no more. This ain't for you. Said I had to leave. I had to leave my job, my circle, change my number, to known and unknown. I had to go into complete isolation. See, God needed a moment with me. You see, sometimes the enemy thinks, oh, I'm controlling her because I sent isolation to her and now I'm controlling her and she's not talking to nobody and she's by herself and she's looking crazy. And meanwhile, God allowed it because he used it. Hello. God was allowing it because he was using it. See, it was in that isolation we talked. I got updated and upgraded. I got reminded who I was and am. I reminded by where I met these people. Can we be real? I said, can we be real? These people that think they could put you down. Remember where you met these people. See, sometimes you got to go there. I remember another joke. I had to get real with someone years ago who was trying to go somewhere but needed an immediate U-turn. See, disrespect is not tolerated over here. And so when he opened his mouth, the funny thing about me is I could put you in your place without even trying to get out of place. It takes one word. Truth. Yeah. The truth can be harsh. But it's still the truth though. And so when homie tried to play me, I had to remind somebody, wasn't that you that was over here doing that and there? And I gave him grace just because he said, don't go there. I respect that. I respect that because he has truth in him. Don't go there because he knows it's true. Don't go there. And the disrespect never occurred again. And the respect has been ever since then. When you walk in respect and you give in respect, you attract respect. Just because somebody is not attracted to conflict and drama and cursing and shouting and threatening does not mean there's one I could step on. Nah, not at all. You see, those of us that don't have time for drama is because we just on the high of just enjoying our best lives. You understand? No matter the situation, we're going to make it work. Okay? Because I'm not about here walking around as if it's the end of days when I could change from right. I can go left. From left, I could go right. I can go straight. I can go back. I could go up. I could go down. Whatever situation you find yourself in, you're in there because you choose not to move. Say I'm lying. So if you know you have the power to move, how is it going to break you? Can you make it make sense for me? I just want, how is something going to break you when you know you have the power to move? I think it was my cousin who posted, I'll never settle because I'm not a rock. You see, some phrases, some things, some, feelings, some sentiments. Listen, when they're said, they do some type of an imprint in the essence of who you are. And it never goes away. And I'm proud to say, I'm from a very strong, did I stress that long enough? Strong line of women. I said strong. And because their blood runs through my veins, because that's who raised me, because all that I know comes from them, I'm nothing less than strong. And proud of it. So as you look for your targets and say, I'm going to get her because she quiet. She doesn't know nobody. She doesn't go clubbing. She just stay home. So she won't know if I'm cheating on her. She's not in these circles. So she won't know I'm on drugs. She doesn't know these types of people. So she won't know I'm calling her one of those. Yeah. Be careful. Be careful. My God, the debt is hefty to pay. Y'all better ask somebody, because I'm sure you know somebody that knows somebody that knows. Be careful. So, originally I started with, why would I have the courage when it's me against an army? I said against an army. And when I say against an army, I'm not speaking of the world. I'm speaking of organized crime members that were in association with a fraudulent ex, whose plot was to bring me to my demise for their gain. Okay, I didn't want to go there. But since I'm being led there, there's another word. Those of you who are not foreign, be careful. I said be careful. And although what I'm about to say will not be pleasant in some people's ears, be careful. See, a lot of you are loving and caring and understanding because you are products of immigrants, right? And so you have no prejudices against immigrants, right? Let me say be careful one more time, okay? You see the confirmation. I said, let me say be careful one more time. See, cause there are agendas out there that y'all not even versed in. Y'all better wake up. Really, y'all better wake up. Because there was a time when we were all aware that somebody can try to love bomb you in order to get papers, right? Well, it's more to it than that. See, they go as far as divination nowadays and look into your fortune and find out how much the Lord has blessings for you. How much they can steal from you. How much they can try to walk in your shoes or clone you into a street corner friend. Yes, I went there. They want to know your details. They want to know your business plans. They want to know your investments. They want to know what you study. And they want to bring it to their corner friends. You feel me? They want the connection so you can lend, so you can bring, so you can provide, so they can buy drugs, so they can go club, so they can... Shall I go on? So they could buy bags, so they could do their nails, so they can get their weave. Shall I go on? I said, shall I go on? They call themselves women. I refuse to employ that word because I walk and I speak in truth. The truth is, they are agents of the dark. And they want your life. They want to be in your shoes. And in their pathetic, miserable lives, they grant their burdens as gifts. And they extend these gifts to those of you that are professional, that have promise in your lives, that are going somewhere, right? Because they know you will extend your kindness, your effort, your nurturing, and he takes from you and he brings to them. You see the level of desperation? I said, sometimes people, I've studied psychology to the point where I've learned that you need to study the entire picture from all sides, right? And trying to put myself in their shoes, I was like, but I could never be that desperate. I'm just being real with y'all. I don't know what you call it. If it's pride, if it's whatever you want to call it. But I could never be so desperate that I'm going to send someone who I claim is my man in another household to bring back to me. Can you understand? Okay, maybe that's the definition of desperation after all. Maybe the definition of desperation is not as fitting as what I just explained. Yeah. And the ones that are susceptible to that type of guidance, they call themselves men, but that type of steering from a quote unquote female. Large percentages of them are foreigners. I speak the truth. You see, I'm a very observant person. So there's other things I notice and I note, and I just keep them up there because I allow the bank to flourish. You understand? And not to flourish to the point of being nonsensical, but to the point where I have an argument and I'm ready to make my decision. I recall one time a cousin calling the Judas that was in my life. And that cousin was on speakerphone. Confirmation. God, I love how you work. And I recall the Judas saying that, yeah, I'm married now, because the cousin said, oh, I heard you married, blah, 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 and whatever, and congratulations, but behave yourself. I know who you are. I know who you are. I know who you see, you can't let that one slip. You heard? You just can't let that slip. Why would the cousin be saying, I know who you are. I know who you are. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Oh, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm not doing those things. Don't worry about me. You know that's how people do it. That's what you need to do, man. You just need to get mad. Hello. He thought I wasn't listening. Oh, my God. Notes taken. You see, a lot of times they're laughing behind you and they think, oh, I'm fooling her. I know things and I'm planning this and I'm planning that. And little do they know, you just giving them enough rope to hang themselves. You feel me? I said, do you feel me? I also recall the first week of marriage. One of those corner friends called. Hello, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you. He was on speaker. His response was, don't effing call me again, B. I effing left you, B. Don't you understand you a B? I can't be with you, B. Like, the B was so excessive. It was so excessive in nature, so note taken. Notes taken. After that conversation, don't ever call me again, B. After that conversation, I was like, what was that about? The response was, oh, I told that. I left that B behind. She was nothing but a B anyway. So I don't know why that B calling me now. I moved on with my life. She's just a B. Mind you, who he was calling was on the B was like, but like so startled of the B word, the excessive B word, the B word again. It was like slap after. Like, okay, where's your self-esteem there? Slap after, and you still there letting him call you B, all the way to Z. It's sad, but sometimes you gotta laugh. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you don't even, I don't even understand like the depths of the low self-esteem here. So I'm looking and I don't understand why this be calling me and stuff like that. It's over between us. And it was just so excessive. I said, you know what? I said, would you believe I don't approve how you handled that? And he said, well, I said, because I've never had a relationship that I parted with for someone to call me out of my name. Okay, we're not together again. Okay, we're not together again. We're two adults. You don't have to wish me the best. I don't have to wish you your best, but I don't have to say a F you. You understand? He doesn't have to say a B. It's just over. You move on. I move on. Life goes on. As a matter of fact, these same people who move on, time and time again, will make efforts of saying, you know, I made a mistake. You know, I shouldn't have left. You know, maybe we could work it out. You know, it's that civil to the point where it's that civil. Out of nowhere, someone you didn't hear from in years. Happy birthday. Happy New Year. Right? Meanwhile, you don't have any connection with this person. But because you wasn't a vulgar person and he wasn't a vulgar person, it never went nowhere vulgar. And this is why today I laugh at people that say, oh, the only man who respects you, because it's from my culture. So I can go there. The only man who respects you is the one who marries you. That is a lie. Can I be honest with y'all? That is a lie. There is no man on this earth that has disrespected me to the degree that my Judas did. Do y'all hear me? Do you hear me? A wedding ring, a marriage certificate does not give insurance of respect, love, loyalty, commitment, trust, even intimacy. And this is why you need to get to know who you know, because you know who you know before you say I do. Today I'm very fulfilled. I am very happy. I thank God for life. But sometimes you have to go through some things in life for you to wake up and realize that, man, a title is a title is a title. It's just a title. Because you don't know what they're doing behind your backs. As a matter of fact, you don't know who they are until they say I do. And that's a wake-up call for somebody out there. They don't show you who they are until you can't say this engagement is canceled. Because it's so easy to form your lips and say canceled. You understand? But when you get married, it's a little more complicated. Confirmation. A little more complicated. So it's after marriage, you see the codependency of family. You see that when you said I do to one person, you realize you were saying I do to a crowd. Do you understand? You realize you have to get the approval of a crowd of everything that happens in your household. Without shedding too much light on too many details, an example would be, well, we're being discouraged to do this. I was advised to do this because of this. You know, whatever plans or situations or topics that you should have amongst yourselves would need an approval letter and validation. Had I known before, y'all already know. You understand? I myself am very strong-minded. I think for myself, and I follow the beat of my own drums. I could never and would never succeed with somebody who is codependent or is somebody that needs approval as a quote unquote male. Can I do this? Can I go there? Can I take this step? Should I walk away? My God, that is so unattractive to me. I'm just being real with y'all. My efforts in trying to give you the wisdom I've gained from the experiences that I've had will not be as efficient if I'm not being transparent with you. But I could tell you straight up, a weak-minded man is so unattractive. Very. I mean, especially to those that believe in traditional commitments. I won't even go as far as marriage. I'll say commitments. When you're a man, you want to have a say, right? I really don't think we should go there, whatever. And you and that person, you're a team and you decide together. And although you make the decisions together, your input is respected, is validated, is understood, is embraced, is considered. Yeah, that's what you do for the feminine, right? And then the masculine inputs as well. And together you formulate something. But to be with a quote unquote masculine, who's supposed to be a masculine energy, quote unquote, and who's more in feminine energy than you, quote unquote, and I'm going to break it down, quote unquote. What you mean that person is more in feminine energy than you? Okay. First off, you can't make your own decision. Second of all, y'all ready for this? I said, are y'all ready for this? You cannot emotionally regulate. Isn't that the stereotype? Oh, the woman is carrying on. The woman's going crazy. The woman is nagging. The woman's always complaining. What about when the shoe is on the other foot and you're missing your heels and see them over there? Whoa. My God. Huh. Yeah, what about that? See, some men in the shadows, in the dark, they like to try on shoes. Ain't that something? But to get back to our train of thought, when you want respect, you comport yourself with respect. You understand? You want to be respected, you comport. You do not come at a woman with the reason why that we are platonic in our connection, for lack of a better way of saying it, is because my family member told me we should not be intimate. We should not be intimate until you help me get my papers. People. Yo. Is it a dream? Is it for real? And so when one person wants to walk away because enough is enough, like I see your boyish tendency, and enough is enough, and then you go to black magic and you think God's not going to handle that? What you thought? I said, what you thought? Ain't nobody got time for that. Especially when you are with a woman who's not from the streets, never been on the streets, never will be on the streets. We don't know about them red bottoms on the corner over here. We don't know that life. You understand? So if we're in a commitment, we're in a commitment. We're loyal. We're faithful. We're trustworthy. And so you could take your platonic over there. You understand? Because I understand your cousin confirmation may have a situation. She may need to take her place. Yeah, I went there. Kissing cousins, they call them. Uh-huh. I said, for those of you in the back, kissing cousins is what they call them. And so they begin with saying, you shouldn't be doing that because she did not give you Can you, first of all, is that even legal? That's number one. Second of all, is it even legal for a family member, an in-law, to be exact, to say, well, you can marry my granddaughter, who happens to be your cousin, but she can give you papers. Kiss and call cousins is what they call them. That's how they do what they do. Comes from the head and it goes down the bloodline. You understand? And so when I saw the nonsense, the trickery, the disgust, it wasn't hard for God to convince me to walk away. It wasn't hard to believe the prophecies that were gave. Nah. It wasn't hard at all. It was time I began to love. It was time for me to begin to love myself as I knew I deserved to be loved. It was time to remind myself that you have never been treated like this by nobody else. And this can't go no further. No, it can't. It just can't. Like, people don't raise their kids. People don't send them to college. People don't provide for their kids and raise them in certain neighborhoods and give them the understanding of wisdom and intellect and throw them away. They don't do that. Where they do that at? What you don't want for yours, you can't want for someone else. What you don't want for yours, you can't do to someone else without expecting that boomerang. And so in this season, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot that's coming. My words were once mocked, and I was described as someone who lost her mind and speaking out of her improvise and demonic in nature. But as you're witnessing, all that I've said has taken place. I said all that I have said in 2019 has taken place. And so all the vision that I am being given now, I also know will take place. Let me remind you that the beginning of this episode I shared, that people question, where does she get her courage from? You get your courage. I get my courage from the patterns God brings in my life. You see, I took you from there and I brought you here. Remember that time? And I brought you here. Remember? Remember? I remember. Let me say that with assurance. I remember every pitfall that has ever come in my way has always been a stepping stone to the essence of who I am. So in your illusion of strength, in your illusion of unity, I've heard there's no honor amongst thieves. Might want to take note of that. But I walk in assurance because God told me. When I tell you to say something, you say something. It doesn't matter who is standing in front of you, where you standing, and how intimidating they want to give you an illusion of. The answer is God. You want courage? I said the answer is God. That courage comes with alignment in God. Right? That means letting go of things that He tells you to let go of without need of explanation, unapologetically. Be free to brush your shoulders off. Because when God got you, doesn't matter who they think they are. Confirmation. What power they think they have. What unity they think they have in number. I said when God is in control. When God is in control, His word is the word. Period. Period. If He says, don't touch my anointing, He knows He can back it up. Say I'm lying if you dare. He knows He can back it up. Wake up call. All right. In 2020, I said, you will all be made an example of. Those that were persecuting me. Laughing, giggling. Hee hee ha ha. The good old days in their eyes. Until Judgment, 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 more judgment, and promise of judgment. Being told to say that, stop allowing people from swaying gratitude away from God. If you ask God for justice, you are in the right to ask for justice. The lie of just sitting there and taking it is just programming to make you resemble an imbecile. I just went there. I said it's just programming to make you resemble an imbecile. If someone offends you, you have the right to go to God and have him handle it. Yes. Trust and believe. I had him handle it. And he has handled it. To be continued. I said to be continued. And the funny thing is, those of you that have taken the liberty of connecting with me for my empowerment sessions, I've shared you don't fight black magic with black magic. You heard? You don't fight black magic with black magic. You protect yourself. You heard? You just protect yourself. And then you ask God for justice. That was my recipe. You understand? Because when your hands never been dirty, you don't have to be worrying about no comeback. You don't have to be worrying about no boomerang. You don't have to be worrying about no karma. Nah. You want to see my hands? They right here on display. Okay. Because I know when that karma comes, I know where it's going. I can sleep as quietly and restful as a newborn child. I'm covered. I'm protected. Everything that is mine is covered and protected. And I'm courageous as a improvise. You see what it is to walk with God? It's not the title. It's not the hat. It's not the white dress. It's not the membership. It's the truth. The truth set me free. Today, I'm free indeed. Am I not? I said, am I not? Now, I had no idea that my channeling would take as long as I did. But I am very thankful and I rejoice in the release of my truth. The encouragement for those of you who are being persecuted to know God has the last word. And the wisdom for the ignorant to watch their step. I am going to briefly share some light about this spread I have in front of me. The first card is God humiliating the proud. Spiritual communication influences religious men, teachers, and men of law. Kind of went with the channeling, huh? Let me read that again. God humiliating the proud. Spiritual communication influences religious men, teachers, and men of law. Those who know, know. Confirmation. Those with eyes see. Those with ears hear. Next card is abundance. God comes with abundance. He will supply you with abundance when you walk in his footsteps. Next card is partnership. Two of Cups. Let me tell you, those of you that are distraught, are confused, are asking, but what if I never meet someone else? What if this is my last chance of being with someone? But what if I'm going to have to be alone First of all, you have a choice of being miserable with company or working at it by yourself. And when I say working at it, improving yourself. Working on areas that need polishing. Strategizing to uplift your vibration. In turning your manifestations. As God is the creator and you are the co-creator. If he removes you, please understand it's because he has a better plan. If he has allowed the black magic of the agents of darkness to interfere, please understand it is for your welfare. I can testify to that. I said I can testify to that. I had to take a pause for the smile on my face. Thank you, God. Next card. And funny enough, it's not next card because it's two cards following each other consecutively. Balance, balance. What's that telling you? Balance. What the enemy thinks or thought or believed or had illusion of, I took it from you. It's mine now. Let me laugh at you. That part, guess what? God was always in control, people. God was always going to give me the last laugh, people. God gives justice, people. You understand? So be careful what you go out there to steal. It may be tears. That you're banking on. Let that marinate and sink in. Because it may be tears that you're banking on. Next card. God, the end of the universe, endings and rebirth, influences health and longevity. Honey, can I be a witness to myself? Can I be a witness? You see, when you let go of death, death is also an energy, right? So when you detach from people, places, and things that no longer serve you, you detach from the energy of death. But death also symbolizes change. And so with ending comes rebirth. Death can be physical. It can be spiritual. And so you review your circumstances. And you resonate with the events in your life as to, is this a physical death? Or is this a spiritual death? Is this a transformation? Is this a rebirth? Because one thing I must be honest about is if you did send a death spell, I said, because once you've created that energy, I must welcome it in my life in order to receive it. Knowing that I won't, it goes back to sender. And this is why you do not, once again, utilize. And I'm not picking on one lifestyle or practice. I'm speaking on low vibrational energy collectively, all across the board, all across nationality, class, whatever you have it, whatever you call it in any language. Be careful of sending out any manipulative energies for your gain an evil plan. Be careful. Let me tell you a vision I just had. I saw a child acting out, right? And the mother of the child warning the child with her pointing and being stern and saying no. The child continued. The child continues. The child continues. And then the mother lifts up the child and sits the child down. That's what's going on all over the world right now. I said that's what's going on all over the world right now. Several are taking many seats. Because out of order needs discipline. And so we will continue to witness it until adults can adult. Funny how people love to say, I'm grown. I do what I want to do. I'm a man. I'm in control. Can you pay your bills? Do you need help? Do you lack wisdom? Do you lean on others for guidance? Take a checklist and determine for yourself, are you adulting? Can you give advice? Can you teach? As you mock others for the abuses that you've bestowed on them, the traumas you encouraged and prolonged, the depression that then developed, compared to yours. Have you been evaluated? Do you need a psych evaluation? Or is it institutionalized? That would be a better approach for you. See, part of adulting is being in your truth, is being able to look in the mirror, is being able to say, it's time to sit your behind down. It's time for me to act my age. Yes. It's time for me to be the man I was created to be, the woman I was created to be. It's time for me to be independent. It's time for me to stop stealing. It's time for me to respect my sexuality. Yes. Adulting, check. Adulting, check. Adulting, check. Check, check, check. Check yourself. Next card is signs. Signs. God will be sending you signs to let you know if you're on track or if you're off track. God will be giving you signs that He is in the midst of answering your requests, or the answer is no. God will be giving you signs if you are receiving justice or judgment. It's in the signs. Respect the signs. Next card is Ace of Wands, inspiration. Power. My signs give me power. My signs give me creativity. My signs awaken me to new beginnings. They encourage me to explore interests. and invest confirmation. Invest time in planning priorities. Signs. Next card is contract. Confirmation. Contract. I'm being led to say respect contracts. Respect contracts one more time. Respect a contract. Do not engage in fraudulent contracts. On the same card that says contract is the balance of justice. That's telling me there are eyes watching. And when you do not align with what you signed your name to, when your intention was to be fraudulent, when you made mockery of the system of government, this balance comes with judgment. I said this balance comes with judgment. It also comes with justice. Funny enough, a couple of cards earlier, we had two cards consecutively stating balance. Next card. The adored God. Divine blessings drives away evil spirits. That's about that black magic. Whatever magic you want to call it. Your hoodoo, your voodoo, your whatever it is. Them evil spirits y'all calling. Understand when you send it in the wrong direction. It's instructed to go back home. Understand those evil spirits that you sent to plague different homes, different households. Come back home to you, your children, your spouses, your families. Be careful. I said be careful. I remember in 2020, I shared a remark that I was aware that someone was using Kali to bring destruction and havoc and death in my life. I remember stating that was a mistake. I said that was a mistake. You better know who you calling on. See, some of y'all have comfort in darkness. You feel like nobody can see me. Nobody, I could do this. I could just, bring my offerings to this deity or whatever you call it. And I could send a death spell. I could handle her. I could destroy her life. She didn't do nothing to me, but I could still destroy her life because I don't like her. I could just destroy her life because the man I thought would love me married her instead. No adulting there, right? But married her instead. And then so you go to Kali, right? That's what your intellect tells you. Oh my God. You don't realize the gamble of Kali. Yo. For those of you that don't know, y'all better know. I said y'all better know. Y'all better know who you calling on. You see. Because if you don't know common sense, let me break something down to you. The reason why certain people appreciate the energies of whether it is a deity or they believe a saint or an angel or whatever title they give it, is because of the person's life or what energy the person stands for. And as I've shared before, balance is the fruit of the universe, meaning all of these energies that are sought after, that are given reverence in some form, is because they carry a story. What was the story? What does that deity stand for? And this is why I laugh at the blind leading the blind. Because how is it that someone who was not raised in that type of setting, who was not given that type of understanding, from parenting, from family, from bloodline, how is it that person can be better versed in the sense of knowing that if one deity represents justice, does that ring a bell? Those of you that practice what y'all practice, does that ring a bell? You see, you're so concentrated on darkness that all you see is the darkness that is being offered. That's the lie of the devil. That's the trick of the devil. That's the spirit of trickster. Y'all know him too, don't y'all? Y'all go to the crossroads too. And then you wonder why. Why is death surrounding me? Why are all these people in my family dying? Confirmation. Why are my children dying? Were you not warned in 2020? I'm going to leave it there. Be careful of those deities, those lois, those, I don't even know all the names, because my concentration is of a high vibration. And therefore, if I learn something in passing, and that's the shame about it, I don't even immerse myself in darkness. You see how this is amazing? Like, I don't even engage in darkness. Yet, I have enough intellect and enough spiritual understanding to know, halt. That would be stupid of me. That I'm trying to do an injustice and I'm utilizing an energy that brings justice to kill someone in injustice. Make it make sense, people. Like, I'm really, like, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I really want to, like, have a meeting of the minds. I'm so serious right now. But I cannot do that. And that's just one of the reasons why I refuse to answer calls to ignorance. Are you kidding? You have to meet my level of understanding in order for us to have a meeting of the minds. If I do not rely on the energy of ignorance, I cannot understand yours. And if you do not rely on wisdom, you cannot understand mine. So there is no need to talk. There's no need to debate. And I will not be allowing you energy harvesting. Because one of these things that are being utilized against those that are in their power, in alignment, transcendent, is disruption. I need to bring disruption to that person's life because I need them to get distracted off of their walk, off of their calling, off, not this one. I said not this one, not over here. As I've shared before, those of you who have childhood issues, who need a hug, understand I'm not your mama. Okay? Because we have a lot of quote unquote adults walking around with no certification in adulting, but claiming they're adults. Wanting to act a fool and then wanting you to save them from their foolery. Until they met me. See, I don't wait for y'all validation. I don't wait for your guidance. I don't wait for your say so. I connect to God. And once God told me, wash your hands, turn around, walk away, done deal. You understand? I said done deal. Because lessons learned, promotion time. You cannot send death spells to someone and then come to them. Can you help me? I'm sorry for trying to kill you. I'm sorry for trying to send these energies to your family blocking you and torturing you and using you as target practice for 5-something years. I'm sorry. I'm forgiven now because I said I'm sorry. I knelt down in church Sunday and I said I'm sorry. So I'm forgiven. Okay, you haven't interjected adulting. I said you have not interjected adulting in that scenario, have you? Have you? So you think you're 3 years old that you can just get a tap. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you said. Doesn't matter what you stole. Doesn't matter what you tried. Just tap. You're supposed to forgive. That's what the book says. Right? Okay. Again. Please enlighten me, the adulting in that scenario. And let me enlighten you to what my God told me. Because my God is God. You understand? And my God told me that you need to forgive yourself. Want to know why he said that? Some of us have hearts that are so big that we refuse to see the wrong in anyone. That even in our victimhood, we want to blame ourselves. Instead of blaming the person, we say, I should have studied him more. I should have never felt for that. I should have known. I should have followed the bad vibe. I should have been alert on the red flags. I should have. And then one day someone woke me up and said, stop shooting on yourself. Stop shooting on yourself. It happened because there was a lesson for you to learn. Your heart is so big and your energy is so loving. The only one you need to forgive is yourself. It is not even in your nature to remember any spirit of insignificance. Can I speak for myself? Confirmation. Always confirmation. Like when I'm done. Like it's like it takes a lot. Trust me, people. I'm very patient. I'm one of the most open-minded people you will ever meet because I am very attracted to freedom. I believe everyone should have freedom to live their lives as they choose, in understanding the consequences that they choose. I do not believe in bullying, gang stalking, none of that. I'm too busy working on me. See, when folks was playing and having fun in their 20s, I was learning about self-development. I was on a quest to learn who I was, because I was raised in such a strict environment due to my culture, my religious influences, and my bloodline, period. Okay, because you're not going to grow up and act a fool with my name. You understand? So there's a way to comport yourself even when we're not around, because you're part of us. You understand? So this is how I was raised. And therefore, I was boxed. And I only knew what was allowed in that box. But as I got older and I experienced college and experienced the teachings of human development and sociology and psychology and abnormal psychology, the list goes on. I learned it was time to define myself for myself. And this is why today I am not a people pleaser. This is why today I think for myself. This is why today your opinion is irrelevant. Because at the appropriate time of maturity, I took the time to define myself for myself. So you cannot determine or influence or override my understanding of me. And no one has the right to come into your life as spouse, friend, family, in-law, even professional, to come tell you who you are. There is but one authority besides myself who has a word on who I am. Let me share my favorite quote. I am as I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more, nothing less. Did you hear me? I am as I am in the eyes of God. Nothing more, nothing less. That's a quote. St. Francis. So, those of you that don't have time for quotes, that don't have time for a self-help book, that don't have time for working on yourself, need to redirect yourselves to yourselves. and mind your business. Yeah, I went there with you. I did that. I said, and mind your business. Because if you were to mind your business, you would have been further along in life. You would not feel the need to attack or to conduct black magic or try to attack or try to steal. Because you would have had it yourself. You feel me? Isn't it time to take a seat? I'm just saying. What you look like when you call yourself an expert, when you call yourself worthy, when you call yourself a better fit for the job, and you don't know nothing. Once that mask comes off, that glamour spell wears off, the veil of illusion is off. You're left with nothing. What you look like. It's time for us to focus on self. And that would be so easy if we made that choice. But there is ego and confirmation. And even if someone walks away, even though you offended the person now, right? And then the person walks away after you offended them. They could have pressed charges now, but the person walked away after you offended. You owe them money now, but the person walked away after you offended them. You defamed their character now, but the person walked away after you defamed them. Yet, you continuously conduct everything that you could find to attack by means of low vibrational magic. It doesn't matter it comes back home. It doesn't matter it's affecting your children. It doesn't matter that everyone's life is in jeopardy, but you keep doing it because that ego though, you got to stay on that wave, right? That ego. I'm going to win. Don't matter how many kids you lose. Don't matter. Right? Right? Yet you tell your kids you love them. I don't need your love. I said, I don't need your love. You don't even love your children. Oh, that is disgusting. I finally reached the point of no words. when someone is willing to jeopardize, when you continue at putting not just your life, but your children's life at stake, my God, what words can I even use? I don't even have the words. That's deep. No love. Ciao. Next card is isolation. Insecurity. Financial loss. See, this is what happens when people start seeing your true colors, ain't it? When they see being in connection with you endangers their life, you find yourself at 5 of Pentacles. Next card is support. You better look for support. You better look for it. You better sign yourself up at an addictions clinic, or I don't know what you're going to do. But sometimes people take it so far. Even family got to give you the hand and say, no, you're not going to endanger me or mine. Back off. And give you that look. You know that look? That look that says, yeah, I said what I said. That one. Back off. That one. Last card is 6th chakra. You'll be given, well, the ones that are in alignment to God, for righteousness' sake. You'll be given revelation and sight, foresight, of what dangers may come your way. And that is why I am courageous. I am courageous not because I stand alone. I am courageous because of my spiritual support team. A team that can't be touched, can't be influenced, can't be lied to, can't be in low vibration, as it is celestial. You understand? My connections run high. You understand? And so sometimes when plans are being done, I was waiting for you to do it. Whoa. I was like, look at the time. They were supposed to do that already. They running late. That part. I love my spiritual support team. And I love the discipline coming to anybody who lost their mind and think that they can interrupt our connection once again. Them days of manipulation is yesterday. See, black magic performs better when the person doesn't know. But when the person knows you and your energy, it's not looking good for you. Unfortunately, confirmation. Fortunately, I got everyone I need and want in my circle. So the concerns of filtering people out and testing people and none of that's necessary. Not with the light. I said not with the light. And I will close by saying, trust in God. He will never steer you the wrong way. You understand me? Even if you don't understand what's going on because the details were not detailed enough and you want, I said, he will never steer you the wrong way. Today, he's my best friend. And I am so blessed. Several songs are coming to me right now. But I will take the liberty of listening to them after I say my piece. And that is, those of you that stayed this long, let me give you a clap. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Because a lot of people don't have time for inventory. So the fact that you made time for inventory means something to me too. It means that with God, there's still hope. And you are the hope for the future. I pray that God walks with you. God talks to you. God lifts you up. And you become best friends too. May better days come our way. Peace. Let me repeat. I am as I am in the eyes of God, nothing more.